The Ash, Lutzi and Susie Snackbox.
I'm down in Melbourne, so I'm not in the studio, so I'm not sure exactly when I'm talking. But I had a great dinner last night. It was at the Sport Australia Hall of Fame dinner, and it hasn't been one since 2019. So
I can't believe
4
that.
years. Yeah, because of COVID, et cetera, et cetera. So they have a dinner usually yearly that they invite all the athletes that have been inducted into the Hall of Fame, and then
Sijuan,
corporate. Yes,
were people still getting inducted in those years?
Yeah, they were.
They were, okay, right.
Yeah, but they didn't. They had state-based, small, intimate state-based events.
Yeah, right. Masks.
Because there hadn't been a dinner for so long, 95 members came down for the event.
Wow.
And before the actual event where you all go into the big room with everyone, there must be 1,000 people. It was at the Crown Casino, like massive event. There's a little cocktail party before for the 95 people and their partners and stuff, which is amazing. I just love looking around. I'm like, oh, that's there's John Eales, there's
Dorney.
Anyway, anyone, name any athlete that's been around and
Mick Fanning.
And they're in that room. Mick Fanning, yes. And before, Robbie McEwen was there, the cyclist. And a funny thing happened with him and I, and he listens to the show and he goes, make sure you tell this story tomorrow on the show, so I'm going to tell it. So when we first, we finish the cocktail party and then we go to walk into the event. Everyone's already in the event, but they sort of march in the 95 athletes, and we all stand up on stage, and they go in order from people who have been inducted into Legends, and then the normal members behind them. So it's such a thrill, honestly. So in front of me was so John Bertrand and Dawn Fraser were the first two to walk in, and then I must be getting up in age because I was the second group. I was with Shane Gould. Shane Gould and I walked in, and then behind me I think was Wally Lewis, Ken Rosewell, John Eales, etc., etc. And so we walked down the centre of the venue, and we get to the stage, and we're sort of centred on the stage. So I'm at the front and next to John Bertrand. The other side of me is Ken Rosewell. Then Dawn Fraser, Shane Gould,
Struth.
Wally Lewis. Yeah, so it honestly is such a thrill. It's such a thrill. I love it. And then everyone marches in and sort of stands behind us like a big, massive school photo. But at that point, I'm in the front row and I'm in my high heels, so I'm one of the tallest people next to the sort of older. I suppose everyone's starting to shrink a bit. Yeah. And Ken Rosewell, the tennis player, is super.
Is he not big? He's diminutive.
He is tiny. And behind me was Robbie McEwen, who's also quite
tiny. Did you say listen to our show? Robbie McEwen listens to our show. The 3-time Tour de France points classification winner. What on earth?
He does. That
blows my mind.
Yeah.
Morning, Robbie.
And hi, Robbie. And so I'm in the front row, and then everyone's sort of behind us. But I'm one of the taller people, so it's just like the school photos. The person who's taking the photo comes down and starts picking people out who are too tall and moving them up the back. And Robbie's behind me. He's quite short, and I'm in front of him.
Can all the goalkeepers go to the back of the room, please?
He sees me squat. I start to squat down because he goes, "You want to stay in?" And he leans forward and whispers in my ear. He goes, "You want to stay in the front row, don't you?"
Of course.
I go, "Yes, I do want to stay in the front row."
Yeah.
And he goes, "You better tell everyone that you actually squatted down. You started squatting so that you could be in the front row, and they didn't pick you. They didn't pick you out of the front row and put you up at the back."
Oh, so you stayed there?
I stayed there, yeah.
And Robbie, did they move him forward, or did he just stay in the second row?
He stayed in the second row, but I had to. And Robbie, if you're listening,
you can't quite see him in the photo.
Yeah. If I stand up on my heels, you can't see.
You're blocking
his face.
him.
Yeah, I'm blocking him. But don't worry, Robbie. I squatted down, so I stayed in that front row.
I actually want to see that photo.
Can we chuck it up on our Insta? Is that around, Suze?
Yeah. I'll send you the photo. It's
I'd love to see
it's honestly such a thrill. And then when I was actually at the function, and there was the who's who of there, and Mick Fanning was one of the people who was inducted along with Sally Pearson and Mark Knowles, the hockey player. And I get a text off Cliff, who didn't come down, my husband, saying, "Bill, my son really, really wants a photo with you with Mick Fanning, and he really, really wants an autograph from Mick Fanning." And I'm like, "Oh, do I have to?" It's not the place really to go. Oh, it's not the place to go and ask autographs, really.
I mean, Nat Cook could do it.
Natalie Cook. Oh, she was there.
Is anyone getting autographs? That's a very good question because, I mean, the first thing I think about is getting that photo and getting everyone in it to sign it, and that's worth, Throw that on eBay for $200,000.
Yeah, that's true, actually, yeah.
Seriously.
No,
Mick,
no
I've got
one
a
is-
bit of a side hustle going. Would you mind
Signing 42 of these. Yeah. Did you get
no
it?
one is. Yeah, I did. Yeah. I got it. He was the nicest guy. Honestly, Mick Fanning's speech and interview was excellent, and he was the nicest guy. And I got him the autograph. I'm like, I don't want to be one of those people, but can you please sign this for my son? He's a massive surfing fan.
Probably get a real kick out of that, though. You
Yeah.
know, if you Mick Fanning,
course.
well, Susie O'Neill asked me for an autograph.
Well, he's another legend.
Yeah.
Like to ask for your autograph is pretty
Yeah.
cool, isn't it?
And the other thing I really remember from that function is that's when I've met Shane Gould for the first time, and I still can't believe he's dead. And I remember when I
Shane
met-
Warne, you mean?
You said Shane
Shane
Gould.
Warne.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Shane Warne.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you
Oh,
yelling
Shane
there?
Warne.
It's
Shane Warne, sorry.
controversial. Yeah. There's your headline.
Shane Warne. Yes. And that was amazing. When, you know.
Now,
the point is it's-
did they make reference to Shane, given that's the first dinner since?
Yes.
Yep, what they do.
It must be. Yeah, they did a memoriam of everyone who'd passed away
Right.
in the time that. Yeah, so it was It's amazing to think that Shane Warne.
Yeah.
not Shane
That's
Gould,
crazy,
Shane
isn't it?
Warne is not here.
The Ash Lutzi and Susie Snackbox.
I was listening to a podcast a couple of days ago, and I've been kind of laughing ever since because it was with Gus Gould, the Journos edition or something or other. But
Yeah, I've
it was
heard it.
it was just Gus. Have you heard it?
Yeah, I listened to it.
Yeah, I find Gus such an interesting character. I first met Gus actually at the 2000 Olympics when we were doing the coverage there. He was.
Oh, was he there?
He was a part of the 2UE
Was he?
coverage. Yeah,
I forgot that.
Yeah, I remember.
Is that Phil Gould?
Yeah,
Phil Gould.
Phil Gould. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's just been such an interesting figure. He's just like he's in charge of Canterbury at the moment. Obviously, he does all of his media commitments as well with Channel 9, and I don't know. He's just an interesting guy.
It doesn't annoy me as much as I feel like he used to at one point.
Yeah, see,
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's... If anything, he sort of overcorrects his bias now with State of Origin, where he kind of patronises a little bit.
Yeah.
You get that? You know, like...
Well, I was a little bit because I've always really liked him as a commentator, even though I know that there's that Queensland New South Wales thing, and it's like Gus is like one of those guys that we as Queenslanders love to hate.
Yeah.
But I still kind of like
No,
him as
it's
well
not that.
in a weird way. Even though he's polarising, I get it as a staunch Queenslander, but I used to just love those speeches that he just as from a broadcasting point of view. Those
Where Spider Cam would come down on
The
him.
final word, I think, is it? Or the last
Yeah,
word?
yeah.
those pieces to camera that he would give on Origin night coverage, just a brilliant execution of
Very hard to do.
presenting. Yeah,
Do you reckon he's reading that, or is he doing that off by heart?
he's doing it off the top of his.
Wow.
Well, I mean, he's obviously recited, but
Others have tried it.
he speaks about how he would do it and how it all came
Who had
about.
a crack at it? I don't want to say names here in case it's wrong. I feel like Scotty Prince had a go at it.
Oh, really? Oh.
They could be wrong. Sorry, Scotty,
Yeah.
if it's not. I think there's a famous like pre-game sort of thing.
Oh yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I've seen it.
Yeah. Because
Love you,
if
Scotty.
it goes wrong, it goes really wrong. But when Gus would do it, my kids sometimes send them to me now. They've become memes, you know. And like Gus
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
his speeches, it's like, you know, trust yourself, trust your teammates, believe in yourself, believe in your teammates. When you see it, do it. And when you do it as quickly as you can. No fear, no hesitation.
Like, these guys are coming onto the field as boys, but they'll leave as men.
Yeah, all of that. Like it's
But
just
it's
sounds-
done well. It doesn't. There's no ums and ahs or beg your pardons.
You could see how he would be able to get a whole dressing shed just like
Yes.
galvanised and ready to go into battle. So I enjoyed the podcast, but what made me laugh at the end of it, though, Suze, was he was saying, you know, he's dealing with the public and he's out there in the public eye and all of the rest of it. And what he's getting now is he's getting mistaken for someone, okay? But he's getting mistaken for Paul Gallen. Like,
What? How? They're a different generation.
Good for him. I mean, it's not good for him, but I mean, it kind of is good for him.
I just keep
Yeah.
laughing to myself, like the Gus going about his every day, and some bloke going,
Gallen.
That's Paul Gallen. Like,
How's Gallen
I wonder how Gallen feels about it as well.
He'll be 30 years older than Gallen. Paul Gallen's getting that's Gus Gould.
I got I got.
You big toad, Gould. Mate, I'm Paul Gallen. I'm only 40.
Gus Gould's like 30 years older than him.
You big fat toad.
I got in New York once in a lift. This lady said that I looked exactly like Bill Murray.
Yes.
Is that good? That's bad.
Depends on the
bad.
photo. And
Because I was like, oh, really? And then she left, and I was like, I wonder which Bill Murray she was talking about. Like Bill Murray from Stripes? Or,
That's what I'm saying.
Or Bill Murray from Adaptation,
Like
because there's a big difference.
Big difference. And I'm sure we've done it before. And Nick, if we search up the things, I mean, there's that South African cricketer, McMillan, that you look like for a little stretch there. There's a few different people.
Yes.
And again, it was different scales of McMillan.
The Brian McMillan one. That's a doppelganger, is it? Yes. Yeah, that was. I forgot.
Can we get a montage? Yeah, see, Nick's
I
just
didn't
seen
want
it.
that to come out of
So
it. Yeah.
can we get a nice little montage of Ash lookalikes? And this can go badly for all of us, I might add.
Yeah.
There's
That Brian McMillan
I get some
one.
pretty bad ones
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Bill Murray's 74.
Yeah. Thank you.
The Ashlatzy and Susie Snackbox.
I see the Courier Mail kick off there. It is an annual Future Brisbane event that they have each and every year, obviously being annual. But I think because of the Olympics and everything, it's starting to probably gain a little bit more
Bit more traction.
attention and traction than it has previously with everything happening at the moment. And there's some good stuff in the paper today about, and I see that Lord Mayor Adrian Schrinner is very much pushing this as well, about how we activate not only the river, it was basically our water spaces, so the river, primarily the river, and also our beaches, is the comments in the paper today around water taxis and more, all the terminology around berths and stuff like that along the Brisbane River, so people can activate it, people can actively get out on it, enjoy it, and also the utilising some spaces on the beach, which is an interesting one. Tom Tate chiming in on this one around some of those beach bars, Mediterranean style sort of things.
For the Gold Coast.
For the Gold Coast and I guess Sunshine Coast as well, which will get a bit of bite back, I'd imagine, on the Sunshine Coast. But they're looking at former Olympics, so specifically today in the paper, Barcelona, and how they've gained legacy out of the Olympics from the Barcelona Olympics and how they use their water spaces and things like that. And
The village at Barcelona was on the beach, and I'm pretty sure it was an unused beach. And they set up the whole village, and then presumably after that it's turned now into
something pretty cool.
Yeah.
They've continued it on?
Yeah, presumably like the Expo example in South Bank.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Similar thing.
And I sort of, the beaches one's a bit sort of, given that I don't live there, that's an interesting one for you, Ash. You're down that neck of the woods. But certainly with the river, I think it's completely underutilised. Like, it's empty, like a lot of the time, other than the occasional city cat and, things like Oasis. But other than that, it just seems, I remember going to some cities I remember going to Pittsburgh, wherever the hell that is, in Pennsylvania, in the USA, and getting on a water taxi and having a couple of beverages and rocking up next door to the baseball stadium and stepping straight off the river onto it was just utilised in a far more effective way.
And how beautiful is it? Like, it was just the other week when, we were just talking to Melinda, who we met out on the cruise, the Halloween cruise.
Yeah.
That we did the other week. Like, when you do go out onto the river, particularly of a night time, it doesn't have to be of a night time, but we just happened to be there of a night time. It was stunning.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And it is such an effective way of transport too. Like, particularly with traffic, you got to get from one place to the other. If it's on the river, if it is easy to use and can be done in a timely manner, and those ferries that we've got, they move pretty quick.
Yeah.
But I do agree. It seems to be underutilised.
What do you think
Have you
about
seen those new? I was
Yeah,
going
go
to say, have you seen those new jet boats? Those IRB type boats. We had a Swaz on it actually a while back. They're great, and then they also do trips now out to Tangalooma, etc., etc. They're using them a lot more, going to different bars and restaurants.
Yeah, I know that.
I don't know what they're called, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I haven't
They
really
are
seen
fast.
them. Have you seen them?
I've not
I have
seen. I've seen them.
I've
I've
seen a
seen
few.
like television reports of them, and I've seen people that are using them and catching them from Howard Wharves.
Yeah, Smith Wharves.
Howard Smith Wharves over to Amity. And they go to the pub at Amity, and then they can come back, so you can get actually within the course of a day. Like, that's a completely different place. Like, it's a different vibe all of a sudden you're on island time, and
I-
you can come straight back into the city.
And I just reckon, like, I know, like, just the aesthetic of it, like, it's not like busy streets. I think a busy river looks kind of cool, doesn't it? Like, if you had, taxi lanes and things like that, cruising up and down through the city.
Oh yeah,
It gives an energy to the city that we don't have at the moment.
I'm all for it. What's the beach situation?
Well, there was one at I'm going to say Kurrawa, near Kurrawa Surf Club. They trialled this sort of Mediterranean style sort of beach.
I like that too.
Thing. I think I have no problem with
I
that.
think the Gold Coast is a perfect place for that as well.
I'd love to see what Caloundra thinks of it on the Sunshine Coast, Sijuan. Whether they're going to fight back about having bars on beaches and
Maybe
things like
Noosa.
that. Or, geez, Noosa's going to fight hard too, I reckon, against it. Or are they? I don't know. But I don't have a problem with it. I think if they can do it in a good space, and Tom Tate's been saying we do it the right way.
Yes.
And utilise some, for want of a better word, dead spaces. Why not?
I was just reading the great Susie O'Neill in the paper this morning.
What does she say?
So the great Susie O'Neill says life is for living.
There we go.
And I'm for it. Let's have a good time.
Life is for living.
Is for living.
Quote. Yep. No,
Nick,
that's
we
what I
work
say every
on
morning
some
when I wake up.
inspirational photo with Life is for Living, please, for the Instagram.
The Ashlatzy and Susie Snackbox.
I'm in Melbourne at the moment. I came down for the Sport Australia Hall of Fame dinner last night.
Big night.
Yeah, it was massive. But I wasn't sure if I was looking forward to coming down or not. Actually, you know what? I wasn't. I said yes to this dinner ages ago, and as it got closer, because it was I had to fly Monday. So on the Sunday night, I'm like, oh, why did I say yes to this dinner? I really don't want to fly to Melbourne, etc., etc. But and during the night, I was on the 11:30 flight so I could do the show. Then during the night, my flight got cancelled and it got changed to 10:30 in the morning. And then that got cancelled and it got changed to 1:55 p.m. And so
Too late.
with daylight saving, it was going to be too late. So I went through that little thing. Do you ever? I'm like, oh, good, I don't have to go anymore. You know how you say you're going to do something, so you tick off that part. Like, good, I've committed. Everyone knows I'm going, and then it's going to be cancelled. I'm like, oh, good. So it looks like I'm going. I'm making the effort, but I actually don't even have to go. And then they go, actually, no, we can get you on a 9:15 flight, but you probably can't make it because of the radio show. I said, probably not. Let me just check.
No, you would have gone, nah, stuff that.
No,
Like, I'm almost done.
No, I texted Buzz and I said, oh, look, I know I probably can't go because I won't be able to make this flight 9:15. And Buzz goes, no worries, you can go.
Sorry.
You're leaving. It was Buzz. You're leaving anyway. Just ping off.
You're leaving.
And, but the only flight I realised when I booked in, remember I was doing it yesterday during the show, I realised it was the only flight they could get me on as a business class flight.
Oh, bugger.
God damn.
So
Seems like a them problem, doesn't it?
yeah, I haven't flown business class domestically. Geez, to be honest, I used to fly it a lot when I was back in the day when I was a swimmer and just quit. I was sort of famous, and so they used to always fly me business class, which is great. But obviously those days are over. But when I accidentally got business class again, it was so good.
Yeah. I
flying
find it
down
pretty
and-
rough these days with the whole PJ situation. But
Oh, mate. For those who don't fly business, Suze, talk us through what it is.
Oh, okay.
PJs.
So basically, you get to line up first, so you don't have to do that big long line. You go to the front of the line.
that's a nice
you
moment,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, it does feel pretty
As
good.
much as you
actually, just to
pretend,
walk
as much as you
past.
pretend that
I don't know.
you're same. It's a nice moment, isn't it, Susan?
No, I didn't mind it actually. I had to sort of push past the lady. Excuse me, I'm on this. And I thought, I bet you the hostess, the steward, doesn't even think I'm flying business. She probably just thinks I've pushed in here.
Yeah, I always have that. I always
Yeah,
have.
do you?
What do you call that? You
Yeah.
call that imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, I get that.
I thought,
a
I
lot.
bet she thinks, yeah.
Most things
Like
I
any-
do in life, in
Well,
fact.
where you think someone's going to tap you on the shoulder and go, you
Yeah.
don't belong here.
Nutty. It's
Yeah,
almost,
yeah.
it's almost like, it's the classic, what was it, Pretty Woman situation of going into the shop
Yeah.
and being able and being being in the right place, even though people think, oh, come on, buddy, get to the
shouldn't be
back
here.
of the line,
Yeah.
and then
But
you
no, I
have
was
that
busy-
moment where you sweep on through.
Yeah. And they go, ding. She
Yep.
goes, oh,
It's gone green.
Welcome
That's a
back, Miss O'Neill.
That's a surprise.
Thank you.
As someone
And
who
then
doesn't
you're-
fly business, right? When I walk on, I always look at the people in the business section. And I go, I wonder what you do.
Yeah, wonder what they do.
To afford
yes,
this.
yes,
So on the other side, Suze, when you're
Yes,
sitting there and
that's
you're
the
looking
other
at all
point.
the other people, what are you
Yeah.
thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Yeah, because I was only...
She's
there
thinking,
was one-
don't touch me and get back to your crappy seat in 38H. That's what she's
I think
thinking.
there was 1, 2, 3, 4. There was 12 of us. Was that 3 rows of 2? And I thought the same thing because I think there was a baby behind me. And you know what?
Dear.
The baby was making a lot of noise.
Oh,
and
my
I thought to myself,
You shouldn't have to put up with this.
no, I don't put
They
up with this. I don't fly
they
business
should put
very
them
often.
down the back with the other,
but I
with the normal people.
And then I remembered when I flew business overseas, when I was part of the International Olympic Committee, and I flew over to Athens with a 4-month-old baby with Alex in business class. And we're in first class probably, business or first class back then. And Alex screamed her tits off the whole flight. And I was bottle feeding her at the time, but I was also drinking gin and tonics because I'm like, I'm really anxious. I'm like, shh, Alex, you know when babies start crying, you cannot stop them.
Yeah.
I don't know how you meant to. How do you stop them crying? It's so annoying. But I remember that flight and getting to the end of the flight. And as we were walking off, a
God.
guy said to me, and I'm bottle feeding her, remember, I'm not even breastfeeding her, so I'm drinking gin and tonics. And a guy who's obviously really pissed off that I was had her in business class goes to me, you shouldn't be drinking gin and tonics if you're breastfeeding. It's the gin in your breast milk that's making her cry.
Oh,
Come on,
Thanks for-
buddy.
Thanks for that mansplaining. But anyway, yeah, when you get on, you get bigger room, seats, and I also got a proper meal. It was breakfast time. I got on it.
I asked for a photo of your meal.
It was a curry. 9:15 I got on the flight and I got a chicken curry with jasmine rice. And then she said, what would you like to drink?
Oh,
And I
gin
noticed
tonic.
the rows, that would be the classic. The rows in front of me were getting some wine. I said, have you got any sparkling? And even then I felt like I shouldn't be drinking. I felt like I don't know. I felt weird. I suppose it was 9:15 in the morning. Maybe that's right. And she gave me a little bottle of sparkling wine. And, I travelled down and it was awesome. I loved it. And then obviously the dinner. I can get into that, but
Did you get eye contact with the people going back to economy or?
no, I had my head
Because
down.
that moment Buzz mentioned, you just had your head down, did you?
Because you know who was on the flight with me? And I was embarrassed
Oh,
because he
dear.
was going to the same function as me.
Who? Ian
Stephen
Thorpe.
Bradbury.
Oh no,
Stephen Bradbury.
Where was he?
down the back.
He was down the back, obviously. Because
Obviously.
The Ash, Lutzi and Susie Snackbox.
speaking of weather, did you see they brought out the weather prediction for Christmas Day
Already?
for Brisbane?
Oh my God.
Exactly.
Well, go on.
But they have.
Can't even tell if it's raining the Savo.
Exactly.
Well, they can't even tell with, like, as a fisherman, there was a couple of weeks ago, the 6-day forecast said that the weather in 6 days' time, the wind is going to be non-existent. It'll be non-existent in 6 days' time. So I planned a whole fishing trip to 1770 with Archie.
End up being cucumbent.
Oh, it just ended up 40 kilometre an hour winds.
for God's
Like,
sake.
and you just go, well, why can't they? If they can't predict 6 days ahead, how can they possibly predict Christmas Day?
Well, tell us what they're going to say, and hopefully.
They're saying Brizzy's getting a very pleasant day for Christmas. No rain in sight with a high of 29, a low of 20. There'll be periods of clouds, but mostly sunshine.
Seems very specific.
it's over a month away.
Exactly, Suze.
What about the days like leading in and after? Because then you can kind of get an idea on the pattern.
It doesn't say that.
Right, okay.
Just got the 1 day forecast.
Yeah, I mean, if they said it's going to be 2 weeks of sunshine, then you kind of get it. There's nothing in the, nothing this side of India coming our way, or something like that.
Yeah.
But 1 day is very specific, top of 29.
Yeah. Very generic.
Remember that really hot? Remember that really, really hot Christmas day? There was one year. It was like an oven. Anyway, I really remember it.
And what I feel, usually they're hot, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like really hot. Like
Super
hot.
hot.
Like really,
really
like
hot.
unusually dry hot. Like Adelaide hot.
Adelaide hot.
Is that
You know,
like-
dry.
Is
Not
it?
humid. Not humid.
I don't know. I don't want a hot Christmas. Yeah, that's what we're known for.
Anyway, stick around. More great chat coming your way after this.
The Ash, Lutzi and Susie Snackbox.